I am wondering because I keep hearing about creating generational wealth once you save on your interest. Is there or are there any particular companies, or do you guys have a company where we can invest with, or is that the bottom line? Because I would like to do the same thing. I would like to create some type of wealth,
Mm-hmm.
and I would like to save from paying the interest that I'm paying on my mortgage. But once I have that money set aside, I would like to do something with it that I'm pretty sure that would work. So could you tell me how that works with you guys, or
Miss
if you have
Rose.
something in your program?
Miss Rose, I love that question. I love that question. So I'm putting something on the screen. So, Miss Rose, here's what we've got. We've got a family here, okay? And they're borrowing $204,000, okay? And their interest rate is 4%. You follow me so far?
Okay.
All right. So we got at 4%, that means the bank wants them to pay 71.87% of what they borrowed in the form of interest. So here's what the bank wants. Out of 204,000, they want them to pay $143,018 in interest. Okay?
Hmm.
But with our program, they're only going to pay out $41,000,
Right.
which is way better.
Yes. I have listened to your show. I just refinanced back in November,
Yes.
and I previously had a 30-year, but I refinanced for a 15.
Mhm.
Let me tell you, I actually almost got physically sick
Mm.
when I first saw how much interest they got,
Mm.
especially that first year,
Yeah.
as opposed to the principal that went toward the money that went towards the principal.
Wow.
So this time going around, I'm trying to find some kind of way to get it down. And I actually did pay off my next month's principal.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I want to continue doing that,
Okay.
hoping that I can save. But I did hear you say that before, that you have to pay them some type of interest, right?
Well, you got to pay some interest. We just don't want to pay them all the interest that they're due. And the best thing you could do is pay the absolute least amount of interest for you. So while you're doing that, let me ask you this question. You know you're saving some money, but do you know how to save the absolute most amount of interest that's possible for you?
Well, not really, because I can pay them
Hmm.
the amount of the next principal for the next month,
Right.
or I can pay it, I think you've said up until 12 months.
Well, you're right. You're right about that. But my question is, do you know how to pay the absolute least amount of interest for you?
I do not.
Exactly. That's why you need our help. In other words, you're going to save some interest by doing what you're doing, correct?
Yes, I will.
But what if you could save more with the same amount of money? Would you want to know how
Well,
to do
that
that?
will be great.
But does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense to save the least amount.
Yeah.
My original question,
Yes.
though, had been, and you're right, but my original question had been, once those savings are had,
Right.
like, where, and the reason I ask this is because I do have a way to pay down and save more.
Hmm.
I'm just not sure how to do it at this point.
I understand. So here's what we're talking about. I'm showing you on the screen right now. You ready, Miss Rose?
Hmm.
Okay. So for this family, they're saving over $100,000, and instead of 30 years, they're going to be done in 7.5. Okay.
Right. Hmm.
So that means they're going to be done about 22 years early, right?
Right. They're paying off in 7.5 years.
Hmm. So could they take
Mhm.
that money that they would have paid to the bank over the next 22 years? Could they put that in their investment?
Absolutely.
Okay. So here's what we're showing here. Do you see this $815,000 that says potential wealth accumulation?
That's exactly what I'm looking at.
All right. So what we did here was just show what they could do with that money. if they just continue to pay it, and this is at a 1% return on your money, anywhere you put your money, and you can average 1% return on your money, you can do this. So it really doesn't matter where you put it, as long as it's more than that is 1%. But what if you
Okay.
put it somewhere where you can make more than 1%, 6 to 7%? That's over $1 million.
But Don has some valuable information that can contribute to the quality of a person's life. And it only costs you a few dollars. It's his book. Why not get that?
I'm going to go through the P.I.L. method myself with some of my investment properties. So I'm going to link up with Don, and then I'm going to sit down with him, show him my investment portfolio, and see how I can eliminate interest.